Welcome to Idaho Today. I'm Melissa Paul. Picture this. More than 62 million tons of unwanted computers, cell phone, printers, routers, and similar electronic equipment. And that's just what was generated in 2022. This waste, known as electronic waste or e-waste, is the fastest growing solid waste stream in the entire world. That's according to the World Health Organization, and is also a growing contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. Well, the University of Idaho, they have a team of researchers who have the answer to recycle this waste and use recovered metals toward new technologies. Chris, James, many people are very familiar with the term e-waste, but I don't think they fully understand what is included in e-waste. So give us a better understanding. What is e-waste?
That's a great question. I consider e-waste a variety of different materials, from consumer electronics to printers, cell phones, laptops, desktop computers, things that we use and then need to dispose of.
One thing that's driving this is actually a demand. So whenever there's a new phone coming out or a new item coming out, people want to turn in their old phone and get their new phone. And so that's one of the reasons it's driving a lot of e-waste. I mean, new computer or an old computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do they end up?
We're creating a lot of waste really quickly because of the advancements in technology. And like you're saying, people's desire to have the latest, the newest, the best, right? So how do we recycle e-waste? Because there's a lot of it, right?
There are some current methods that are being used, right? So most likely it's gets scrapped, and it gets shredded, and then from getting shredded it goes through some type of either a pyrometallurgy where it gets combusted or heated and they burn a lot of things away and they can congeal a lot of the metals. The other way that it can be recycled is chemically, where you can add a lot of like strong oxidizing agents and strong mineral acids, and that can just kind of eat the metals away.
I think one of the challenges that's associated with the current treatment methods is they are extremely energy intensive on the pyro processes, because you have to heat and melt everything, or hydrometallurgical processes, which typically use materials that are kind of one and done throwaway or are toxic and hazardous for the environment, and so that's one of the challenges that we are trying to address, is trying to limit some of those impacts both to the environment and energy. And
tell me about the collaboration between your two departments, though, and how you're approaching the recycling of e-waste.
I'm the chemist and he's the chemical engineer, right? So I'm the one that we will make a compound, and he's the engineer, so he makes the process work.
The compound that we have can eat metals. So,
eat metals?
Yeah, as far as dissolve them without being under harsh conditions. That's a benefit of our process. Not using water or very little water if you do use it. You're moving away from the hazards and the energy intensiveness of just recycling, but you're also not then mining it out of the ground, causing additional impacts.
I was going to ask, why is it important to recover the metals? Because you keep talking about, recovering the metals and pulling it back out. Explain why that's so important.
There's a limited amount of resources in the world, and so it's so much nicer in my mind to go mine a landfill than mine a mountain or in the ground. And the metals we're talking about are copper, palladium, platinum, gold, nickel, cobalt now, as well as I guess there's a variety of rare earths as well that are quite valuable. So, and if you can separate them and recover them in high purity, then you have a wonderful product to give back.
So how does the process work?
So you start here with your waste, e-waste, or your electronic scraps, right? So here's your circuit boards, and then we start breaking them up, and we put them into a grinder or shredder, and we get to these types of materials, right? So it's kind of coarse. Then we can keep grinding even further into getting some of the millings into some of these processes where they're finer chipped, right? And so from there, right now we're ready to introduce our compounds into some of these different little bits. Once you put the metal inside, it starts complexing and doing its magic that it can then turns into these other different materials. We can monitor this visually with a spectroscope, and we can monitor a lot of the things happening, on a variety of scales. And then from there, we take this to an electrochemical setup, and we don't have the electrochemical setup right here, right now in this room, but that's where we go to recover the metals at the end of the day. So
And regenerate the ligand too.
Oh, so then you take the liquid and then you purify it, I guess?
we use it again.
And use it again. So what's the future of this program and this collaboration?
We just got funded by the National Science Foundation to keep pursuing this and to try to separate the metals and actually separate the metals individually. And because right now we can do a lot of these things with distinct metals, but can we do these things in mixed metal systems? And how good or how pure is it at the end of the day, right? And so we've done a few, but we want to be in a very mixed metal system and make sure, more complex systems. And we want to eventually get this to commercialization, right? That's where we'd like to be in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
Where can people go to learn more?
Go to www.uidaho.edu.